They want to hear the Thanksgiving song. All right. This is a Thanksgiving song. I hope you enjoy it. Love to eat turkey. Love to eat turkey. Oh, I love you. Love to eat turkey, 'cause it's good. Love to eat turkey like a good boy should, 'cause it's turkey to eat. So good. That clapping's messing my head up, man. I appreciate it, but I was trying to think of the next line. I'm like, all I hear is clapping. Here we go. Thanks anyways. Turkey for me, turkey for you. Let's eat the turkey in my big brown shoe. Love to eat the turkey at the table. I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat that turkey all night long. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Turkey lurkey do and turkey lurkey dap. I eat that turkey, then I take a nap. Thanksgiving is a special night. Jimmy Walker used to say dynamite. That's right. Turkey with gravy and cranberry. Can't believe the Mets traded Darryl Strawberry. Turkey for you and turkey for me. Can't believe Tyson gave that girl VD. White meat, dark meat, you just can't lose. I fell off my moped and I got a bruise. Turkey in the oven and the buns in the toaster. I'll never take down my Cheryl Teague's poster. Wrap the turkey up in aluminum foil. My brother likes to masturbate with baby oil. Turkey and sweet potato pie. Sammy Davis Jr. only had one eye. Oh, turkey for the girls and turkey for the boys. My favorite kind of pants are corduroys. Gobble, gobble, goo, and gobble, gobble, giggle. I wish turkey only cost a nickel. Oh, I love turkey on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a Thanksgiving episode edition of the Uninformed Fan. We are coming off an absolute just brutal week this week. We are trying to keep it together, but we are here. We are going to provide you some wonderful insights on how not to play and how not to pick bets and how not to play fantasy, apparently. So, with that being said, it is the day before Thanksgiving. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. Hopefully get to spend some time with friends and family. And if not, if you are stuck working, as most of our friends in the service industry are, hopefully you get that time coming up. Jeffrey, we got a big game Saturday. I see that you're already wearing the gear. Shocker. How are we feeling today?
Of course, man. I mean, you know, and also, like, if we're going to talk, like, I know we didn't talk about this in the pre-show, but, you know, also, Florida State got jumped, man. You know?
I told you, I thought that the committee was going to look at that injury and say it's not the same team.
That wasn't it.
Well, that's not what they come out and say.
Well, no. And listen, douchebag Reese Davis over there, too. This guy just sucks. You suck, dude. Anyway, so, and I'll get to why in a second. But basically, what the committee said is they said, and I agree 100% with them, Washington's win over Oregon State on the road as an underdog was enough to push them into the top 4. I 100% completely agree. I definitely think that, now listen, there's an argument to be made about maybe, a team like Michigan hasn't really played a very tough schedule yet this year or played anybody. You can make that argument as well.
But they're going to play Ohio State. That game's going to work itself out.
On Saturday. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. So I'm not really worried about it, right? Like, I can't fret over things I don't have control over. The one thing I didn't like, though, is when the guy is giving his explanation as to why Florida State moved back from 4 to 5, which if you're a legitimate Florida State fan, should not have a problem with. Because if you were in Washington's shoes, you would feel the exact same way. That if you're a Washington fan, you should feel like you should be jumping Florida State, and you should. But Reese Davis being like, oh, well, now that they have the injury of the quarterback, doesn't that kind of take them out of, any thoughts or discussions of being there? And it's like the whole narrative that he's trying to push there, I think is bullshit, especially when the ACC is supposed to be with ESPN. I don't know.
I don't think it's necessarily the narrative, but I think it's definitely something.
And he's talking to the head of the college football playoff committee about this, saying this.
Well, let me ask you this question. Do you not think that, we spoke about this last week. Don't you think that is on everybody's mind, whether or not Florida State can compete without Jordan behind center? That's a legitimate argument. It's not the same team. Now, however, I do believe you can say that the Oregon State win obviously jumps them up, and that obviously, like you just said, is true. But they put them at 5, right? So let's just put it this way. If they show up and show out against Florida, and they let's just put it this way, they stomp on Florida, that conversation's gone, and it gives them the ability to come right back in after the big Michigan-Ohio State game, Alabama-Georgia. It still gives them, they're right there on the cusp of it. But, like what you were just saying about him as far as pushing the narrative, it's a narrative, like you said, it is a narrative, and it is a narrative that's out there that people are discussing behind closed doors. Because, let's be honest, well, because why? Is because the same team, it's not the same team. It's not the same team that's been winning. So therefore, I think you need to see at least one game, which you're going to get one game with your backup. And if they ball out, then that narrative is destroyed. Now, if they go in and Florida beats them and crushes their hopes and dreams, and then Florida launches off to a bowl game and then starts their rise to stardom, that would be an extreme unfortunate turn of events. I don't know. Just saying. That would just be an extreme unfortunate turn of events.
Well, it's very interesting, too, right? Because, so now you're going to say Florida State goes into play Florida, who just barely lost to Missouri. Should have beat Missouri.
If Graham Mertz doesn't go down there, I 100%. But now I will say this. I like what I saw out of that redshirt quarterback.
I agree. I thought it looked great.
I think with a full week of practice, I think that playbook is opened up more. Mertz is more of a pocket passer, whereas this guy's more of a mobile quarterback type thing. I think you're going to see a lot more scheming. Hopefully, if the coaches do what they do, who knows? Who knows? At least they're not the Chicago Bears coaches, because they would still leave him in the pocket. But yeah, I think this Saturday game obviously we knew it was going to be a lot more interesting when the unfortunate injury. Let's just put that out there. No Florida fan, at least no respectable Florida fan, wanted to see that happen. I did see it on the Florida pages. Nobody wanted to see that. There are a couple trolls that were like, yeah, whatever.
Of course.
But those are
on Twitter. That's where you troll. And listen, I think some of it's funny. I've seen some pretty funny stuff tweeted out. It is fine. I don't know if we're at a point where it's Florida State fans are okay with joking about it, but you should be. You shouldn't take yourself too seriously, because it is college football, and here we are.
Well, I think we both know in the South, college football is serious.
100%. I care about it more than I care about anything in my life, except for my kids.
Nice recovery. God, family, football.
Hey, be careful, Oliver. You might be getting sacrificed over here. I'm just joking. I love you. I'm not sacrificing you.
Can we donate a leg? Can we do a leg transfer?
Just a pinky. No. But and here's my thing when I say about the narrative, right? Is that Florida State will play Florida. And if they win, they will beat a Florida team that just barely lost to a top 10 Missouri team, right? And then will the narrative be, oh, well, they beat an SEC opponent who has played other SEC opponent stuff, who beat a ranked Tennessee, who took Missouri to the wire, yada, yada, yada? Or will it be, oh, they beat Florida on a down year in the SEC?
No, I think what it will be is
you understand where I'm going with this? And then
I've got one better for you.
In Louisville. So it's like,
I got one better for you. They're going to say, well, they beat Florida with a backup quarterback.
There you go. Another thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just I
You can't win.
I've lived this for so many years, and I know what it's gonna be, and it's
You just got to get out of that shit
frustrating.
conference, man. Nobody respects the
I
ACC.
100% agree, bro. I've been saying this for so long. We're having a great year, dude. I mean, 11, 12, 13 and 0. I mean, if the sky should be the limit. Recruiting's going great, and I still feel like I'm getting kicked in the nuts over and over again. Speaking of getting kicked in the nuts, should we get into Monday Night Football?
No, we're not. Actually, we're going to start off next. Tom Brady decided. This is the big buzz going around football. Tom Brady got on the Stephen A. Smith podcast, which I would love to know the amount that he got paid to be on that podcast. And he was talking about the state of the NFL right now, and he said this with extreme passion. And he was talking about, and I wish I could play the clip. You know what? I really got to look into that. We need to upgrade our stuff here so we can show clips. But he stated on there that right now the NFL is a mediocre product, and it's not entertaining, and it's not good. And he went further to state the coaches are not as good. There's no player development, and the amount of changes that they've made on the defensive side, it's almost impossible. And he went even further talk about, there was places he would not throw the ball because he knew his wide receiver was going to get absolutely destroyed and probably lose the receiver for the entire game. All of that's gone. Tom Brady, welcome to the club. I'm glad that you've been listening to the podcast for the entire year because I've been saying it over and over and over about especially young quarterbacks coming into the league. There's no development. There's no development of these guys. It's just throw them out there. There's no scheming. I saw Jeff Saturday this morning break it down even better. Loved Jeff Saturday's breakdowns. He's absolutely right. And the NFL needs to wake up because not only do you have an inferior product being put out there, the betting is now being pushed. So then you have cases like Joe Burrow that comes off obviously hurt. People are putting hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on this game, expecting Joe Burrow not to be hurt because you didn't disclose it. And guess what? They lost. And, shout out Davey Portnoy, whatever you want to say about him. He's got some good takes and some seriously bad takes. But he has an absolute point. He come out with Portnoy lawyers. Actually, his uncle's the lawyer, whatever. But if you've been hurt by this, you put money on it, you absolutely deserve a refund. It's absolutely egregious. But back to what Brady was saying, I love the passion that he talked about. There's no coaching, there's no scheming, And when you look at they brought up Shanahan. Obviously, Shanahan, a lot of crisp routes. They talked about, the fact that the route running is inferior, and it's just more of, hey, let's throw up a ball and try to figure it out. I 100% agree with them. Like I said, I've been saying it since the beginning. I think that what they're doing to the NFL and the pussification of it, if that's what you want to call it, not being able to hit somebody that goes over the middle, not being able to you could even not I don't want to say leap, because when you do leap, but that's one thing. But I've seen guys that have literally been standing there, and a receiver is coming at them full speed, and they literally just stand there and turn their shoulder and check him, and they get a flag. And now there was also some people that say, well, Tom Brady, you benefited from this as well because, not being able to hit low, things of that nature. But I don't think that's what he's talking about. He's talking about more of the receivers, defenses being able to play defenses. He brought up, Ray Allen and, the bad boys that he had to face in defense. And there's nothing like that anymore. There's nothing like that. I'm sorry. Ray Lewis. Thank you. Jeremy knew what I was talking about. Ray Lewis, stuff like that had superior techniques and stuff. And maybe you got a little bit of that out of Roquan Smith right now. But I don't know. I 100% agree. I think the state of the NFL is an absolute shambles. We come on this show every day. We talk about it, about the shit primetime games that we watch. The NFL wants 38-36 scoring, but we're getting 16-10. I mean, we're getting bad play, and then you take out one-star quarterback, and the whole thing goes to shit. And that just tells you, once again, what we talked about again as far as the Bucs, and I'm not going to keep harping on this. I moved on. But you did have somebody that you drafted, number one in the second round, that you didn't develop at all for 3 years. And then when it came time, you had to go out and find somebody else because you didn't do any type of a development. We're going to talk about Zach Wilson here in a minute. But you're seeing the same thing with Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh. What is this, his second year? They're ready to move on from him. Now, regardless of what you think about him, they just fired their offensive coordinator. But what type of development has he had? Especially when you fire your offensive coordinator. And the last little tidbit I'm going to throw out there before you get on your side here, Jeff, is I do believe there's 29 offensive coordinators in the NFL within 1 to 2 years. 1 to 2 years of being on a team. 29 out of 32 offensive coordinators are within 2 years of employment. There's no stability. It's win now, and if you don't, I'm going to make a change, and then what happens? Same old shit. He's absolutely right. I'm glad somebody with a little bit of credibility says it, because obviously when I say it, it just floats out into the universe, and nobody gives a shit. So thank you, Tom, for validating what I've been saying for weeks on weeks.
So before you got into that, you talked about upgrading our setup, right? And about how we need to upgrade our setup. I always wonder, Tom Brady, worth what? $500 million? This man still is doing interviews from his car in like 440p with earbuds in. You know what I mean? Like,
I think he was in his house on a MacBook, to be honest with you.
It's the wildest thing, and it's like all grainy and everything. Like every interview that he does is just wild to me. But you know, whatever. Listen, shout out Tom Brady.
Kind of like your internet connection.
It's really, really bad today, dude. I mean,
all the kids are home on Wi-Fi, probably.
No, actually, like Oliver literally asked me if he could sit here and watch the podcast today.
Oh,
because they're off school. I told him so he's got his toys lined up.
Shout out Oliver. Chime in whenever.
Oliver, he's just sitting here hanging out. So, you know, wanted to watch Daddy talk today, I guess, which is cool.
We'll keep it clean.
Listen, back to Tom Brady. I thought all of his thoughts were very poignant. Absolutely. And he's right. We don't develop quarterbacks anymore. And if you look at most of the teams that are pretty good in the NFL, there's like basically a kind of a whatever you want to call it, but a formula, right? You have a good head coach, you have a good quarterback, you have a good defense, you know, and everything else you can kind of work yourself out with. You know, we can talk about trenches, and the teams that have the best trenches, they're the ones who go the farthest in the playoffs, so on and so forth. Teams that stay healthy, yada, yada, yada. But that's basically the formula that you have to have. And he's right. The coaching nowadays is terrible, and we're an instant success, instant gratification world out here that loves to stare at our phones and loves to scroll to the next video and laugh and be entertained constantly and so on and so forth. And so, yes, I think there is an aspect of it where we don't allow people to go through growing pains or grow at all or anything like that. It is, you have to succeed or we're on to the next person immediately. So he's right. They need to be coached better. I would love to see him step up and maybe get into a little coaching. And maybe be a part of helping teach these people. Like you have the Manning Passing Academy that they have, that all the top kids go to. I'd love to see Brady, you know, have his own little academy maybe, and start to develop people. I don't know if that's what he wants to do, but I think it would be great. You did mention
I think he
Matt
does.
Canada. I haven't seen anything with it. I've seen him do like some individual stuff with guys, but I haven't seen him have his own, you know, Tom Brady Academy or whatever. You mentioned Matt Canada being released. You know, another thing, Kenny Pickett, like. There's a hilarious clip of Chris Boswell walking off the field, and Matt Canada was always up in the booth, right? And so he comes down and he gives a big dap up to somebody, and he goes, "What a win!" Yada yada yada. And Chris Boswell is like 3 people behind him, and he goes, "It ain't because of you, buddy." They walked into the locker room, thought it was hilarious. But yeah, I mean, listen, Matt Canada stinks, we know that, but also it's like. Their offense hasn't the timing is just weird to me, right? The Pittsburgh never does this. They never fired coordinators middle of the year. Jalen Warren has finally got all the work the past 3 weeks and looks like lightning in a bottle, looks amazing. He's getting work. Kenny Pickett looks terrible, and you're gonna say, okay, you know what? We're gonna fire the OC. Just weird stuff happening out in Pittsburgh.
Well, speaking of, you know, shit offenses as well, the Jets made some moves this week as well. Benching Zach Wilson. Now, we talked about this, and I think I went on a rant on Monday about the fact of Zach Wilson is not 100% your problems here. The Jets obviously are just looking for some life here. I think this was probably a strong arm move by someone in the organization, whether it was the general manager, whether it was the owner, someone of that strong arming saying, hey, you know, it's time for a change. My biggest thing is you bench Zach Wilson and you name Tim Boyle, obviously the journeyman, as your starter. But then you make Zach Wilson your third string quarterback behind Trevor Siemian as well. Now, this is just an absolute statement from the Jets organization saying you are dog shit. We are not going to put up with you anymore. Now, the biggest thing, the takeaway I took out of this is I listened to Zach Wilson's interview, and let me tell you, that kid took this with absolute class. You know, he said the same. He goes, the bottom line is we need to score touchdowns. We're not scoring touchdowns. I need to, do better. While I do think that I have progressed immensely from last year to this year, which I will agree with that. He has produced much better than he did last year. The bottom line is the coaches need to feel, make a change to who they can feel win the game. And that's not me at this time. I just want the team to win, whether that's me on the sidelines helping out however I can or being on the field. It is what it is. I understand it completely. It is, it is what it is. Absolute class move by Zach Wilson here, who's just been absolutely shit on by everybody. And, you sit there and you talk about some of these ESPN personalities and stuff like that. And when one of their boys gets talked about downly, they stick up for him and be like, how are you going to talk about them? It's just egregious to me that we sit on national television and we literally call people absolute dog shit when you've never played that position. You've never done it. Absolute dog shit over and 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 over again. Like, my God, like saying that
did you see Richard Sherman?
No,
And Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless is trying to talk about the tackle that was made on Jordan Travis, and the same tackle was made on Dak Prescott. And Richard Sherman is on, and Richard Sherman is like about to lose his mind on Skip Bayless. And at the end of the day, Richard Sherman's like, listen, bro, you have never played football or made a tackle in the NFL in your life. You don't know what you're talking about. Please shut up. And Skip was like, you're not going to talk to me like that on my. It was very interesting, but I agree. You listen. I thought Zach handled it with class. Absolutely. You see the story that Rodgers told the Jets that 2 weeks he might be back.
Says 2 weeks he wants to practice. And I'll tell you, Mike Greenberg, I think it's Mike Greenberg, Greeny from Get Up in the Morning.
Huge Jets fan.
Huge Jets fan. He got on and pleaded. I think it was on Monday because I think he's on vacation now. He got on there and pleaded, Aaron, do not come back. Save yourself for next year. There is nothing that you're going to do with this offensive line and this offense. You don't have the weapons. You don't have the protection. Do not come back. Like, I mean, if that doesn't tell you something from a lifelong Jets fan, that there's serious issues here, and you called it at the beginning of the year, and I continue to give you a shout out. You said that they were going to be absolutely terrible because that offensive line was not going to protect Aaron Rodgers. He snaps his Achilles, running away from pressure, fourth play of the year, and then we've seen it all over again with Zach Wilson. And you know what? We're going to blame Zach Wilson, which is fine. The quarterback's going to take a lot of the kudos. It's going to take a lot of the disrespect. But that offensive line is absolutely atrocious, and I don't care who you're going to put back there. Now that I'm talking about this, and we talked about this in the pre-show as far as who's going to play, and the Miami Dolphins going in there. Tim Doyle behind. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Little thing from MVP over here on the chat. Jets wanted to sign Cam Newton for him, but Cam rejected the offer, saying he did not want to play with a terrible organization in an interview.
Is that reported by Cam Newton? My only question.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that coming from Cam Newton's camp? I don't know. If I'm Cam Newton, I don't care who. If anybody's calling me, I'm trying to get back in the league because I want to stay relevant. I don't know about that, but we'll see. But yeah, so
I don't know what Cam Newton would do behind. I guess Cam Newton can move, but I don't think it matters behind that offensive line. Unless
the only thing Cam Newton with his height might be able to see a little bit faster, right? Because as a shorter quarterback, you kind of have to let some things play out. You have to let the lineman kind of space out the line a little bit so you can see through the holes. Maybe, obviously, he's taller. He can see through that, but I don't care who you put back there. And honestly, I really, obviously, I wish Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have got hurt because I drafted him. Garrett Wilson, -1 point last week to cost me my fantasy playoff. I mean, not playoffs, but fantasy, but whatever. We're not going to get into that. I would have loved to see Aaron Rodgers on this team because I don't think you're going to see much more. I really don't. I really don't.
I mean, and listen, I know I had like the really hot take, and everybody was like, "You're an idiot." When I was like, Zach Wilson might win more games than Aaron Rodgers is going to win, for the simple fact that Zach Wilson has the ability to actually get out of the pocket and pick up yards with his legs, which Zach Wilson didn't do. So I like the thought process is probably correct, but maybe the execution and the what we saw progress throughout the year was not what I had expected. I thought the Jets would be around a 500 football team with Zach Wilson at quarterback. They're not that far off. He's not going to get the opportunity to be able to get him back there.
Well, let's be honest, though. You have Garrett Wilson, right? Who else do you have to throw the ball to there?
Alan Lazard.
Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb. They have Tyler Conklin. They just got rid of McCole Hardman, who they signed to a big, not a big contract.
Just went back to the Chiefs.
Back to Kansas City. Where was he at, by the way, on Monday?
No, I saw him out there. He had I think he returned the punts.
He does return punts. Well, what's he just getting wind sprints in? Using it as a practice?
I guess.
Justin Watson running. Okay, we'll get
we're getting into that. So let's actually roll into that. We had the Eagles Chiefs on Monday Night Football. The big takeaway here was, as Jeff just said, the Chiefs secondary. I mean, not secondary. The Chiefs wide receivers. Absolutely atrocious. Travis Kelce. I don't know where. I mean, his mind's just on too many things, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know exactly. I mean, he's got his podcast now that's obviously doing very well. He has this relationship that's continually in the spotlights. There's always a microphone being shoved in his face now. There's more attention brought on him than ever before. I mean, he's dropping passes, man. We've never seen Travis Kelce drop passes. He's literally been like a glue that, you just throw it over there. He gets it no matter what. I don't know, man. The Chiefs are in shambles. And I look at one person, and one person only when I look at this, and I look at who is their offensive coordinator. Anyone? Do you know?
It's not Eric Bieniemy. It's Matt Nagy, right?
Matt Nagy. And how do I know who Matt Nagy is? Because he was the Bears head coach for a few years. And his offense was absolutely atrocious. Atrocious. Now, I will say that the Chiefs have had their opportunities and they've been dropping balls. But when I look at some of the schemes here, and a lot of the times when Travis Kelce has gotten open, it's not because of the initial route. It's because Patrick Mahomes is scrambling and Travis Kelce ad-libs. He sits down in his zones. Sits down in a zone where he really is not, going to be. Or he makes a different cut on man-to-man when Mahomes is scrambling out. That's where Travis Kelce lives and why it's so hard to guard him. But the scheme is not working. And when you have a poor wide receiver core like the Chiefs do, which on paper they shouldn't, Rashid Rice has been absolutely a bright light in that Chiefs secondary. God, what do we keep in the wide receiving core? Sky Moore has not been good. Kadarius Toney's been hit and miss. But it just seems to me like they're not getting the balls into the playmakers' hands. That's all. And, what a letdown here when Marquez Valdes-Scantling has that ball hit him dead in his hands, in stride, and he just can't make the catch. I mean, what more? If you're Patrick Mahomes, I think we're going back to the Giselle Tom Brady thing here, where eventually Brittany Mahomes is going to come out and say, well, he can't throw it and catch it himself. Because that's where we're at with Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes cannot do it all. And Bears fans, for those of you that are like, yeah, you should have had him. Yes, we should have had him, but this is what you would have seen right here. Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball up in the air and running down the field to try to catch it himself, because that's what's going to have to happen here. I do think Travis Kelce turns it around. But outside of that, who else? If you're going to double and triple team him, which is what the Eagles did last night, who else is going to make the plays?
So a few things here, and just a quick question, because on Monday I talked about how Eric Bieniemy should be the head coach of the Washington Commanders, and you were appalled.
No, we didn't say that. You said that he should because of his offense has been doing well. Or I said something about the offense to me in Washington is not humming and it's not producing at a value that would say, hey, this guy is amazing. That's all. That's what I said.
Sam Howell looks pretty good. I'm just going to say that. And if you look at what the Chiefs have been without Eric Bieniemy this year.
When you look at Sam Howell, though, and you look at the Washington team that's been down, so many times, the defense goes into that prevent shit. That just pads stats. I mean, I understand that it's still stats, it's still yards, it's still moving the ball. But when you're down 28-3 and the defense changes their complete scheme to allow you to complete 20-yard, 15-yard chips, I mean, it's just padding stats.
They've been down. You're talking about a scenario that has not actually ever happened.
So you're saying that the Washington Redskins have the Commanders have not been down in every game this year?
I'm not saying that they haven't been. I think they've been tight pretty much every single game, in my opinion. Even against Philly, when they played Philly.
There's been some games, yes. I'm saying the majority of them, they're always playing from behind. Go ahead with finish your point. I'm just going to look this up real quick. Go ahead.
This was a very tough game for us. Obviously, we were 0-4 in Circa going into this. I held true. Kansas City -2.5. I thought was the right play. I had a great day. I went and played golf. I was very relaxed. I had about 3 or 4 fantasy leagues where things mattered in this out of my 5. Whether it be I had A.J. Brown and Travis Kelce in a league and I lose, or whether it be I had Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce in a league and I end up losing by 3 points or whatever it is. And, of course, I lose by 3 points and Mahomes throws a pick in the end zone. Kelce fumbles the ball in the red zone as well, too. Just really tough. I thought we were on the right side again. And that's the craziest thing to me is, like, if I look at this game, the Chiefs ran the ball 5.6 yards per carry.
Pacheco was on fire.
Stop. Pacheco looked great. Even, like, the couple little ins and rounds they gave to Tony. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 2 carries for 20 yards. McKinnon, 1 carry for 7 yards. I thought that was a very glaring thing to be able to see, was to see Philly get dominated the way they did in the run game because they haven't been dominated like that the entire year. So I thought there was bright spots to be able to draw off of. Now, the turnovers in the red zone were just crazy to me. And then it's like after all that's done, all that's said and done, you dominated the game. It looked like Philly was out of it. Devontae Smith catches the big pass. They do the Philly tush push to get in the end zone. Okay, we have the ball. We have a chance to go down the field and get this done.
Usually where Mahomes just...
Yeah, the back-breakingness of Marquez Valdes-Scantling dropping that ball.
And then the holding penalty.
Hard to define.
Actually, intentional grounding. I apologize. Yeah, intentional
grounding on Patrick Mahomes, which I feel like I don't see too often. I'm going to be honest. He's able to usually get out of the pocket and make it happen.
He just waited too long.
That game played out. I not only did I lose every single one of those fantasy matchups, I also was tied in first place in our pick'em contest and would have won if MVS catches that ball. One of those weeks, man.
Yep. MVP, I agree with you. The NFL is always gonna favor the star quarterbacks because the NFL also knows probably that it's a mediocre product out there with superstar quarterbacks. So if you start losing superstar quarterbacks, then the league is really shit. So you're always going to see those calls. You saw them with Tom Brady. You saw them with Michael Jordan. You see them with any of the big stars are always going to get those calls to try to protect them. Some of them are absolutely egregious. If you're a D lineman and you're tackling a quarterback, man, you have to be thinking with your brain in such a split-second factor to be able to not only hit them, but then to let go and then, try to figure out how you're going to brace yourself so you don't get hurt and then not land. It's a whole thing. And that's what we go back to, we're talking about Tom Brady and being able to play the game. People are going to get hurt playing football. That's just the way it's going to happen, man. You can't look at this year. Right? With all of this stuff that we've done to protect the player, we've seen more injuries, Achilles injuries, knee injuries, arm injuries, shoulders injuries than we have in previous seasons. So it's not working. People are going to get hurt. And I think a lot of times, when you try to hold up from hitting somebody or you try to change your direction to not get this flag, you put yourself in more of a danger. That's where, your knees get twisted, your ankles get rolled, hammies get pulled when you're trying to stop and not do this, and that's what I'll let the NFLPA take care of that. Just to put a cap on. Go ahead.
When Jordan Travis got hurt, I was like, okay, it's football. Like, things happen in football.
It was scary how close that was to Dak Prescott, though. That was the exact same thing. I think his ankle was hanging at the exact same angle as well.
It's crazy too. There was like and I don't know how to find it now. But because I had looked it up, but they were talking about the number 13 in that game, right? And how weird it was. Like FSU, like Jordan Travis wearing 13, Jameis Winston wearing the number 13. They're honoring the 2013 Florida State National Championship football team. Jordan Travis gets hurt. Florida State's down 13-0, right?
Was it in the 13th minute as well?
I don't know. But they scored 58 points in a row, 5 + 8, 13. It's just like the whole.
Here we go again. The Matrix is revealing itself.
Super weird with the Matrix, one of those weird things. So,
Well, yeah, obviously we were on the wrong side of this one again. I knew it going into it. I hedged out. I just bet the Eagles. You know, I did. I just knew it. I knew it. And you know what? My fault. Whatever.
You know, my good friend Ian Zeese always says, there's no point in crashing with the brakes on. You know?
Well, actually, that makes absolutely no sense, because if I hit a tree going 100 or if I hit a tree going 55, there's going to be different consequences. Oh, anyway, my goodness.
Yeah, I still went with it because I still liked it. And I thought we were on the right side. I don't know. I still feel like we were on the right side.
I definitely thought it was the right side. I'm just saying, the way our week was going, there was no way they were going to win that game.
If you're telling me Jalen Hurts throws for 150 yards and an interception, has a QBR of 37, there's no doubt in my mind.
Well, we did see a little bit of a little ending here, which I saw that you sent out on the group chat. Your boy Nick Sirianni chirping the Chiefs fans. Now, I know that you were going to bring up something else that he did in Indianapolis, but just real quick, my quick take on it. I don't have a problem with it. I understand that, you know, this is a pattern thing, yeah. But to listen to what some of these guys and players get chirped at all game long. Now, I understand that, you know, there's supposed to be a higher standard. I don't really, but if somebody's chirping in your ear, like that Sally girl over there that always chirps at kitties, whatever that guy's name, what's his name? You call him a girl name? Colleen, right. So when Colleen, yeah, Jeremy got it over here. So when Colleen keeps chirping, eventually you're going to snap. And I think that, you know, that's what it was. And I'll let you go ahead and take the rest of it here. Do you want me to come over there and clear the room?
So Sirianni just sometimes pisses me off because the way that he goes about it, I feel like is just such childish douchebag Philly behavior, which I understand. You are a product of your environment, but so last year when they beat the Colts and then he ran over to the Colts fans and like, that one's for Frank Reich. Like, okay, dude, Frank Reich was a terrible coach for them.
He's a terrible coach in Carolina as well.
I'm glad that you went out and you beat Indianapolis at home, and Matt Ryan at quarterback, whoever it was. Like, congrats to you, bro. Really good job. And then like this whole thing with like, okay, yeah, you won the game. And listen, Frank and Marlo were there. They said that the Kansas City people were the nicest people in the world. The stadium was amazing. Tickets were great. Everybody there. Phenomenal place. It's just weird to me. Sirianni walking off, trying to be a hardo, yelling at the fans. Like, he just seems like a douchebag to me. Like, get out of here, bro.
No. Like I said also in the pregame, it suits Philly just fine because, as you know and as you've stated, Philly fans are some of the worst fans in football. So
I am happy for Philly fans. Talking to them all week, this was like, not only was this a Super Bowl rematch, this was like they had to win this game to prove that they were the better team. But I'm like, why? Like, why do you like? I understand.
I'll tell you why. Just for their confidence moving forward. Because if they meet them again in the Super Bowl, and then
probably will,
and they've lost the other two again, there's just a mental thing there where, hey man, we've lost to these guys twice. Like, what are we going to do differently? I think now at least you could go into it. And I think this sparks them for the rest of the season. I really do. I think that they say, okay, because let's be honest, they should not have won that game. They should not have won that game.
Listen, shout out to Kevin Byard, who just got traded from Tennessee to Philly, who really, in my opinion, was the difference maker in that entire game. Played his butt off. Was able to guard Kelsey one-on-one on matchups. I thought he was really good. I wanted to give a shout out to him. I thought he was fantastic.
Anytime you can shut down Travis Kelsey at the Kansas City Chiefs, you're looking at winning football games. Well, let's get into some Thanksgiving football. We got Turkey Day tomorrow, my favorite holiday of the year. I'm not going to be celebrating tomorrow, but I'm going to be celebrating next week. But what an amazing day. You wake up, right? There's football on at like noon, 1 o'clock, depending on where you're at. The turkey's done. You start eating at noon, 1 o'clock. You get the second helping around 3:30, and then you go in for the full gorge at like 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, you're taking down a bottle of wine. You got the scotch open on the rocks. Just a beautiful day. Just a beautiful day.
Gummy bears involved. You know what I mean?
Well, not necessarily. I don't do those around the family, you know, because I do tend to melt and you know, become a recluse. But what amazing day, man! You just sit around with your friends, your family. You just eat all damn day, and you watch football, and you just get shit faced. Ah, what an American holiday!
So Thanksgiving has always been my favorite holiday until I had kids. And then I had kids, and then Christmas became my favorite holiday with Thanksgiving number 2. Now, unfortunately, the way that my schedule and the job that I work, I have to pick my battles. And 2 weeks ago, when I had to make a decision, I decided that January 1st would be the day that I wanted off as my number 2 holiday to Christmas, because there's a possibility that Florida State is playing in the college football semifinals. If I would have known Jordan Travis got hurt, we might have taken Thanksgiving. However, it kind of is what it is, and we're gonna move on. But I Thanksgiving, absolutely one of my favorite holidays. And listen, I'm not the biggest turkey person in the world. Okay, admittedly, I will say that.
Wait till you have a little piece. I'm gonna save you a little slice of my turkey.
All right. There's one person who has made the best turkey I've ever had in my life. His name is Frank Burgo. He had a Cajun infused turkey where it was basted. It was unbelievably good. So shout out to Frank and Cajun turkey. That being said, I usually like it more of like the fixings. Like I love sweet potato casserole. I love green beans, deviled eggs. I love, I mean, I'm a big. Do you call it pecan or pecan pie?
I call it pecan. My mother and her grandmother, who are from Missouri, call it pecan.
Pecan pie.
Yep.
Regardless, whichever way you want to call it, one of my favorites as well. It's just
we do green bean casserole.
Green bean casserole, squash casserole. There's that nap that's taken usually at the end of the first game and going into the second game, and you wake up and it's second quarter and you get your halftime bets in. It's just.
It is. MVP, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, I sorry to hear about your grandfather. It's definitely for my wife as well. Some of the holidays are tough for everyone. Sometimes the only thing you can do is continue to push forward, remember those that are no longer with us, and just celebrate that as well. But yeah, I'm going to give you a slice of my turkey, Jeff. So what I do is I brine and infuse it for 5 days. So it sits in the brine for 5 days. I think it's going to be 4 days this year. And then I take it out, I smoke it for a full day. Then I take it out, let it rest for a day. And then for the actual day, I put it back in there. I wrap it in bacon and then smoke it again to bring it back up to temperature. Let me tell you, my friend.
What are you going to do? You gave me your smoker, though. I have your smoker now.
I have one. I already had one. That's why I took it away. So, yeah, it's going to be one of those days. Well, let's talk.
Hasn't picked that up yet.
A shocker. Let's get into a little bit of the football breakdown here. First up, we have actually that's not the first game. Let me get back here to the first game. First up at 12:30 ESPN. Oh wow, 12:30 Eastern time, man. So imagine, I'll tell you, Central Time Zone is just one of the goated time zones for anything TV wise. 11:30, man. 11:30 football starts. Oh, dude, trust me. When you wake up, Sunday it starts at noon. Like you wake up and you just, boom, it's there, bro. It's just in your face at noon on Sundays. There's no time to think about anything else. Now, 1 o'clock, you're 1 o'clock here. You're like, fuck, I got to get this done. I got to do this. You just wake up and it's 12 o'clock. It's football.
The only thing I really want changed is daylight savings time.
We need to get rid of that.
It's dark at 5:30, and we live in Florida, bro. Like I'm trying to play golf until 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then go roll out to dinner.
We went for a walk last night. I tried because it's still a little warm sometimes, so I take the dogs for a walk. We left the house at 5 o'clock, came home in pitch black.
Yeah, I know they're getting rid of it. I think starting next year. I think next year is supposed to be the last one that we have where we spring ahead and we never touch it again.
Good.
I think Arizona has the same thing, but which is going to be kind of weird, I think, because we're going to be off from everybody else's times.
Don't care.
Whatever. We're our own country.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. We're our own country.
Really doesn't matter as well.
So
the other cool thing about things. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I have all those stats that I want to give you as well.
Yeah.
Too.
So starting off our Thanksgiving slate, we got Green Bay heading into Detroit. Green Bay coming off a great emotional win against the LA Chargers, and the Detroit Lions coming off an even bigger emotional win over the Chicago Bears. And the more I think about the Chicago Bears loss, obviously I'm still upset about that as far as the Detroit Lions. But you know what? Maybe this is another game of chess versus checkers. Justin Fields is coming out proving what he proved, and the Bears still lost and continue to improve their draft picks for next year. Are the Bears going to compete? Are the Bears going to do anything in the playoffs? Absolutely not. So I'm over that. So we got two teams. we got two teams coming off huge highs here. We got Green Bay going into Detroit, and I think we can all say on paper Detroit is a far better team than Green Bay. But we did see some flashes of what Jordan Love could be in the last game against the Chargers. Now, obviously, the Chargers have one of the worst secondaries in defense in the league, with their head coach calling the plays, right? Who says that he's still calling all of the plays correctly. But Detroit is not going to be so much of the same. Detroit did a pretty good job of holding back DJ Moore last week with Chicago. Justin Fields obviously beat them a little bit with the legs. I don't see Jordan Love scrambling that much as well. But I will also say this, Detroit's run game. So the run game is very, very stout. And obviously you have Jamar Gibbs, you have David Montgomery, who are both two great backs here that are going to continue to pound the ball. I think that Detroit just continues to pound the ball here. Now, the spread right now is 7.5. We're going to see where this comes out at our circa picks. To me, it's a half point too much. I think that Detroit continues to manage the clock here with the run game. I think Green Bay doesn't get a few opportunities. Let's be honest, Jared Goff is not going to throw 3 interceptions against this Green Bay secondary as he did with the Chicago Bears. They had 4 turnovers against the Chicago Bears, still came back and won. Obviously, they did not cover, but they still came back and won. I think that those mistakes with Dan Campbell gets cleaned up even on a short week. I just don't know if the run game of Detroit is going to allow Detroit to put up a whole lot of points. This, to me, I mean, the over-under is 47 here. I'm thinking this is probably an under target, especially on Thanksgiving. But it's nice to see Detroit on Thanksgiving actually being relevant for the first time in, 15, 20 years. So shout out to Detroit.
Yeah, it's nice to see them playing Green Bay, and you don't expect Aaron Rodgers just to completely gooseneck them. There's a few stats that we have here. So this is going to be one of the first Thanksgivings in like 20 years where the slate with all three teams that are favorites are favored by more than a touchdown. The touchdown favorites are higher, are 21-2 straight up and 17-6 against the spread on Thanksgiving specifically. Favorites of more than 10 are 8-0 on Thanksgiving against the spread, 11-0 against the spread the last 30 years. Last 20 years, favorites of 7 or more on the road, 9-0 straight up. Against the spread. Only loss was the Bills last year. And road favorites on Thanksgiving are 24-1 straight up, 19-6 against the spread in 2004. So all that being said, this seems like an automatic play on Detroit here. You have to take the -7.5. I'm a sicko. I've been on Green Bay my entire life.
Your entire life,
starting with this year. So I will probably sprinkle a little bit on the Green Bay money line here, just for fun.
I mean, if you want to burn up some money, I think it sounds like a great idea.
I'm already up a few units this week as well too, and
this week today's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
How are you? Oh, because basketball and other things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Magic are rolling.
The Magic look great. I'm looking forward. I'm going to see them Friday.
The Magic are. Is Friday the Boston game?
Yep. With the stupid tournament floor.
So that is, and I'm sorry that we're having a little tangent.
It's what we do here. We talk about what we talk about. No apologies.
That is going to be a crazy game because basically we don't really control our own destiny right now. However, because we just beat Toronto.
Are we talking about the in-season tournament?
Yeah. But because we just beat Toronto by 19 points, this is like a kind of a win in your in situation almost. So it's almost like a game 7 in Orlando against the Celtics, who the Magic play really, really tough consistently. It's going to be a good
We're looking forward to it, man. We're getting there super early.
I think it's going to be fantastic. I think you're going to have a great time with the game. So
of course, Bianca is very excited.
Hope you lose, but
I'm rooting for the Magic.
So
I'm rooting for the Magic. And she goes, "What? You're not going to wear your Boston shirt?" I said, "Listen here, okay. When you go to the Bucks game with me, and I'm not even a Bucks fan, you wear your Patriots shit." Okay, when I went with you to Miami for the playoffs, I wore your Boston shit because my team was not involved. The Magic are now my secondary team because I live in Orlando. I am now a partial season ticket holder, whatever you want to call it. I'm wearing blue.
You love the Wagners too.
I like Mo Wagner, dude. Mo Wagner, not Franz. Mo.
Franz is the man, bro.
Nah, Mo. Okay, Franz is the man when it comes, but I don't know what this to sound snooty. But when you get closer to the court and you can hear the players listening to Mo Wagner control the defense, you hear, rotate, cut. Dude, I'm telling you, man, the guy is fucking phenomenal. He balls out every play. Every play, he's full board. Love it.
Watch Jalen Suggs play basketball. Okay, this man is first of all, he's a menace to society, right? He's all over the court, but he plays basketball like it's football. It's insane, and I love the way he plays. I love the motor that he plays with. The kid is the limit. Shout out to us, by the way. I did pick up Goga Batadze.
Yeah, you need to do something with that team, bro.
You're supposed to be helping out, by the way.
I did. I told you. You did listen to me. I saw you picked up Ja. I'm like, just sacrifice the spot. I mean, it's a long season, right? All right, let's get back to it here. MVP, Warriors fan told me I'm not allowed to be a Warriors fan anymore. I'm not really a Warriors fan. I just like the players I have. So why are you not allowed to be a Warrior fan? I don't really understand that. I mean, it is what it is. You can be also one that just roots for players, not do that. So let's yeah. So back to the Packers Lions here. So Jeffrey's thinking that the Packers can maybe do a backdoor sneak.
I think I just feel like Love has turned it on a little bit. I love.
He had one good game.
That he played with. Do you know what's funny?
Against the Chargers.
Look up his season stats and compare them with Jalen Hurts' season stats.
Look up, okay, I got you one even further. Bring up Justin Fields' stats, who's missed 4 games against these guys' stats, and you're still going to be like, if you did blind comparisons of quarterbacks this year, blind comparison to quarterbacks, you'd be like, what is going on here? This guy's an MVP. Oh, wait, that's who? Who's that? And to your point, and I got to give Baker his credit. Baker's playing really, really well here. I think Baker has played himself into an extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I hate to say it. Obviously, I'd love to see Kyle Trask. I will not be renewing my tickets because no Trask, no tickets. But I will say that Baker, I believe, has played himself into a contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't point to any single game, maybe one, where I can say Baker Mayfield cost them the game. I can't do it. The one where he had 2 or 3 interceptions and a fumble.
Philly was pretty bad.
I think maybe Philly.
Atlanta was pretty bad.
Yeah. I would say the majority of it. It's not like we're talking about, Zach Wilson throwing the interceptions or Josh Allen. I mean, look at if you put Josh Allen's stats up against half of the league, you're going to say that the other half is better than that quarterback. But of course, they make that change, and obviously everything's going good. So moving on, we got the Cowgirls at home again against the Commanders. This spread is now, went down to 12. It was 12.5. Is back to 12, it looks like. Washington coming off an absolute brutal loss to the New York Football Giants, with Tommy DeVito just shredding that Washington Commanders secondary, which we've always known that the Washington Commanders secondary has been suspect. They've been suspect all year, but that defensive line has been able to get home, create pressures, to make bad, questionable decisions from the quarterback. Tommy DeVito just shredded them. Absolutely shredded them. I mean, you got to think when you go home, if you're a Washington's Commander defense and you're just banging your head against the wife, probably went home, kicked your dog. Ditto. We don't condone animal violence. That was just a metaphor. I just don't. Wow. I mean, I think. Are you getting electrocuted over there? Sounds
There's
like
nothing going on my end.
Sounds like you're getting electrocuted. It's like. Bzzz. Did you just fart?
Nope.
Okay.
Not even touching anything.
Moving on. I'm sure Jeremy's going to chime in and tell me it's your phone. Yep, there it is. I switched over. His phone is near the microphone again.
What am I supposed to do with it? I have stats on here that I'm looking up.
What do you want me to
do with it?
Maybe if
what do you want me to do with the phone?
Maybe if you moved it to the side where you had it before, where you don't have to fumble with it the entire time, maybe it won't be close. I do apologize here. The 3-time has chimed in with some amazing stats here. Jordan Love is, I'm not going to do the actual completions, 2,331 yards, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Hurts, we're just going to round that to 2,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And Dak Prescott, 2,600 yards, 19 TDs, and 6 interceptions. And I think this is where I'm talking about the differences with this Dallas team, because I know that you're going to give me some stats here on how Dallas doesn't cover on Thanksgiving. And I just think that this is a different Dallas team. Dak Prescott's probably playing the best of Dak Prescott that we've seen. They haven't really given up the super chokes. Now, of course, I do believe he cost them the game in the Eagles, but you can say that he cost them the game, but then again, he also put them in position to win the game. So it's kind of like he doesn't step out of bounds there. That ball game's over, and we lose that one. So we did get a little lucky on that one. That's my only thing when it comes to this, and I know you're going to put out some super stats against me here, but I still think Dallas covers this easily.
Dak sucks on Thanksgiving. Dallas is 1-11 against the spread the last 12 Thanksgivings. This line is a lot, and it's a divisional game, and just seems kind of crazy to me. Now, the last time the Cowboys were in this spot in this divisional game, they absolutely mollywopped the Giants. The Giants
just mollywopped.
Just beat the Commanders. Now, wasn't that close? So, if your logic is going to tell you this happened, so that means this should happen, correct. For me, it's just too much. It's probably a stay-away game, honestly. Like, I don't feel a need to want to bet anything, but because it is Thanksgiving and because I will be working with Ian on Thanksgiving, taking care of a ton of people, we will absolutely be on the Commanders.
There we go. Jeffrey will be on the Commanders. I will not.
I
will probably stay away completely.
Yeah, you shouldn't bet it. You should not bet this game. 12.5, stupid number. Cowboys are a much better football team. Right now, playing as good as anybody in the NFL. Absolutely.
100% agree. So let's go into the San Francisco game. So San Francisco is going into the Seattle Seahawks. They are favored by 7. San Francisco is just coming off another molly-whopping. I mean, they
7
look,
or 6.5.
It's 7. At least I'm just looking on OddsShark. One of the interesting little nuggets here from OddsShark is they actually have Seattle winning this game. Now, we talked about this a little bit before the game. This absolutely seems like a no-brainer and one where you just don't question yourself. But when you see a line that comes out at 7 and stays at 7 for 3 or 4 days, it's one of those things where you look and you do start double questioning yourself as far as why. Kind of like the same way that we question with the Panthers and the Cowboys. The Panthers getting 10.5 points. Why? Now we saw Miami. We saw that needle move immensely. And what was the other game that we saw last week where the line moved immensely? Was it Dolphins and...
Dolphins went crazy.
Who was the other one last week that the line just went crazy?
San Francisco went crazy.
Oh, yeah, San Francisco went crazy. San Francisco did not cover.
Houston went crazy.
And the Dolphins did not cover. Actually, both of them. Both of those lines that moved like crazy did not cover. Now, the Cowboys, obviously, the line that didn't move, Dallas covered. So this one's an interesting one for me, especially when they put out this stats. Now, obviously, we don't use OddsShark exclusively. This is just something that we like to bring into our analytic approach and just look at things. They do have a lot of good stats out there that you can make your own judgments on. I just think that that's very, very weird that they have Seattle actually winning this game. And I think it's going to be one of those things where we have to look, and we're going to look and see where it comes towards game time. If there's still no movement, I mean, on paper, right? San Francisco wins by 14 easily. The Seahawks are in shambles right now. Geno's not 100%. Kenneth Walker III is out for this game. I do believe you said DK Metcalf is questionable as well. Lot of question marks here. So why is this line only 7?
This will be a mortal lock. If I can put one out on a Thursday, this would be it. I've already bet this game at 6.5 for 3.5 units. Whatever.
This line started at 3.5.
No, it opened up at 6.
Opened up at 3.5. San Francisco 3.5. What?
No, I just looked at
I'm looking at OddsShark. I'm looking at the opening. I'm looking at opening.
Maybe somewhere it did.
Well, you got to figure this line came out super early, remember, because of the Thanksgiving schedule. So it probably came out on Thursday of last week.
Okay.
But yeah, opening spread.
I had it on Monday at 6.
That's how fast it went. -3.5. Bro, okay. like when we first originally, and obviously we're going to talk about this offline again before we do any of our circuit picks, which we'll obviously put out. I don't know when we're going to put those out, to be perfectly honest with you. It depends on what games we take, because if we take a Thursday game, all of our picks are locked. If we take the Friday game, all of our picks are locked. So I don't know. Stay tuned. Watch the Instagram. But this is one now that we're talking about this, right? How does this line start at 3.5? I mean, this is something screwy going on here, man. Something screwy.
I love San Francisco in this spot. I just gave you all the stats about not only favorites but road favorites on Thanksgiving cover at a absolutely ridiculous clip. Favorites, where was it? Road favorites on Thanksgiving, 24-1 straight up, 19-6 against the spread since 2004. So,
God, I just don't understand this. 3.5. Now, obviously, that line had to have come out before they dismantled the last game, and then the money just started pouring in to push it to 7.
No clue.
Crazy. Yeah, so that's
Niners, though.
Yeah, that's our Thanksgiving lineup there, folks. So we'll see what happens there. We do have a game on Black Friday as well. It's starting at 3:00. Are you available for the show this Friday?
Why not?
Hey, man, I don't know. It's a holiday weekend. It's the day after Thanksgiving. I don't know. Ooh. Yes, I will. Okay. Because I think we're leaving like at 12:30. It's a 3:00, and the basketball game is like a 2:00 game. So I'll be leaving immediately after the show to head down there.
What's the deal? Oh, God.
Careful. Getting excited.
What's the deal with Saturday?
What's Saturday? Oh, I don't know yet. We'll figure that out. Jeremy, and I guess I could ask you as well. Magic games at 2:30.
This is going to be the year that we don't watch the game together?
Have we done it every year?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Even when we played at noon and we had the whiff on the onside kick. Remember that?
I do remember
at Ale House.
So just to close it out here on a Wednesday, I just have a question for Jeff and Jeremy here. Are the Orlando Soccer Club, are we still in the playoffs? Is that over yet? What's happening here?
Saturday
is what?
Is going to be
championship? Oh, the first game of the playoffs.
No, it's semifinals. 5:00.
Okay, so we have 2 more games. Is this a win and go home type situation, or is this a best of a series?
I think it's still. Sorry, I just bit into a peppercorn. Jeremy,
why do you have peppercorns in your Gatorade? You are watching the demise of Jeffrey live on television.
I made avocado toast with fried eggs over whole wheat for the house this morning, and
you had a peppercorn stuck in your tooth.
I used a lot of cracked pepper, and I had a peppercorn stuck in my tooth.
Ooh!
And it just dislodged, and I bit into it.
Tasty.
Really good.
That'll open your sinuses up.
Saturday, 5:00. Orlando City plays. The supporter section is already sold out, I believe. I believe the stadium is about to get there as well too. So it should be a great start to the semifinals. I believe it's the same thing. I believe it's kind of like a best of 3 where it's single
elimination. The 3-time has chimed in.
Sorry, I thought maybe he could actually speak. Conference semifinals. All right, so single elimination. So we lose, it's over. I'll be watching.
So how many games do they need to win to get to the championship? 2? They win the next 2, then they're in the championship? 3. I did see Messi's out for the year.
What do you mean?
Messi's out for the year. He hurt himself in a World Cup qualifier or something like that. He's done for the year.
Did you see the World Cup qualifier last night between Brazil and Argentina?
Obviously not. Well, I mean, why? And I understand that the family's from Brazil. You obviously have ties to that. But why would a normal, just American person watch a Brazil-Argentina soccer game?
Well, I just didn't know if you saw it online.
No, I didn't. I didn't at all. Yeah, but apparently Messi got hurt and he's now done for the year. And I see the dots. I don't know if Jeremy's typing something to let me know.
So,
but
Brazil,
at least
Argentina. Just to give you a quick heads up of what happened, they go out there. If you don't know anything about Argentina and Brazil, the countries hate each other. Soccer hate each other. It is like it's vitriol toward the other country.
Vitriol.
So they there was a lot of fighting going on in the stands to the point where the police came in to break everything up, and when they came in to break it up, there was times where it appears that the Brazilian police are just beating the shit out of the Argentinian fans.
Shocker.
Now, there's also a video that I see of Argentinian fans grabbing police batons, pulling them off of the police and trying to, and fighting. It was a whole mess.
That seems like always a good thing to do in a different country.
Argentina players try to crawl into the stands at a certain point. During this, they paused the game. Messi pulled the entire team off the field. It was a huge delay. They finally started up after. But it's just
and then he gets
South
hurt.
America, and then everybody's like, "Oh,
Well, at least if the Orlando City does make it to the championship, they won't have to face Messi. Hey. I mean, hey. A little silver lining there.
I don't think Miami was in it anyway.
How could they not be in it? I thought they won every game. Wow.
Yeah, Miami was terrible. They got Messi, and then they got Messi right before the Open Cup, and so they ended up winning the Open Cup and progressing through there. But that's separate.
So they got Messi mid-year.
Yeah, they got Messi mid-year, and they were in last. They were last, I believe, when they got Messi.
I know that there's a lot of. I'm on the Miami ticket group. For Heat games and stuff, and they have that in there. And a lot of the season ticket holders are absolutely going insane. They tripled the season ticket prices for next year.
Good.
Well, I mean,
bend it like Beckham, baby.
I guess so. Well, that's going to do it for us today on the Uninformed Fan. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. We are going to be back Friday. We'll be breaking down all of the huge college matchups that we have going on. This is rivalry week, so we will see Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, and many others going on. We also have a Black Friday game that we will be breaking down, as well as our look-ahead lines to the Sunday NFL slate. I, again, hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Spend the time with the family. If you don't have any friends or family, find the ones that you love. Curl them up. Do whatever you got to do. Enjoy the day, and please, while you're driving this holiday weekend, stay out of the left-hand lane.
Be great.